Thomas Alva Edison,
Okay.
Walt Disney, and Henry Ford.
Okay.
They all filed bankruptcy.
Thank you so much, Abe Michelson with Michelson Law. Thank you for joining us today. Our Rely on Local podcast is very honored to have you here today. I think a lot of focus that people have when it comes to the law, especially bankruptcy and things that you're engaging with on the financial part of their lives, can probably be, what's a good word for that, stressful. Many people, when they're getting themselves into financial trouble, probably think, I'm so stuck, I don't know what to do. And so it's great that we're going to be able to have this conversation today, because I think it'll give people focus on where they can go and what they can do to better their financial situations. And so, where did you get going in this? How did this start for you? How have you been in the law? How did this get going?
Well, I inherited my father's law practice. I did not want to actually be a bankruptcy lawyer.
Oh, okay.
I really wanted to work for the United States Securities and Exchange Commission.
Oh, interesting.
Or be a prosecutor.
Oh.
I actually did my first 2 years. I joined my father, and I did criminal defense for about 2 years, along with bankruptcy with him.
Interesting.
And I realized very quickly I was Jack McCoy from Law and Order, not criminal defense counsel. And I got out of criminal defense when I had a career criminal, and he was a career criminal, and I had this really great case against the DA. We were going to walk, and it was one thing that sunk the case, because it was a robbery case. And the police had no physical evidence of my client being in the robberies.
Wow.
Do you want to sank this guy? His mouth.
Oh, no.
This is a career criminal. I even said to him, I said, "Don't you do this for a living? You've been locked up for 18 years." And I said, I'm not going to judge you, but don't you want to take pride in what you do?
Oh, no.
I'd keep your mouth shut. You don't talk to the cop. You've been doing this for your whole life. You've been in and out of jail. Don't you know this already?
Better, yeah. You're thinking
you have the right to remain silent.
You have the right to remain silent.
Please exercise your right.
Yeah. I mean, if you had not, what he was worried about was that he was worried about his case, and he invited the DEA and the FBI in to see if they could push the DA to give him a deal.
Oh.
He managed not to say anything to the FBI agent, but he told the DEA agent that he was involved in 2 of the 3 burglaries.
Oh, my gosh.
And she wrote it up and
Boom.
handed it to the DA, what she should do.
Yes.
And after that, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't win.
You can't win for losing. You can't win for losing. You can't lose for winning.
So my dad, I was going to actually take the Illinois bar in the fall of 2006 and try to get a state's attorney's job.
Oh, okay.
My father got cancer.
Oh.
Lung cancer. Now he wasn't a smoker.
Oh, no.
And he passed away.
Sure.
So me and my mother took over. My mother's my partner.
Oh, okay.
And she's actually retiring at the end of this year.
Oh, okay.
And so we took over the business and have been running it for the last now 14 years.
Oh, congratulations.
So, and it used to be just bankruptcy, and now I have evolved it to, I'm trying to get to bankruptcy and tax work.
Oh, okay.
And it's very
well. In many ways, I'm sure that works together in many ways.
It does.
Yes,
it does.
Yeah.
It's a very special niche in tax work. I'm not helping people get out of pay less to the IRS.
Okay.
What I am is where you're already in trouble with the IRS,
right.
The Department of Revenue.
Sure.
And quite often, you can get rid of tax debt in bankruptcy.
Oh, okay.
But it's difficult, and a lot of my clients don't do what they're supposed to, which is file the tax return on time.
I remember at one of the lunches you were talking about that to
Yes.
everybody. Make sure you file.
Make sure you file.
Yeah, make sure you file.
There is the statute of limitations on IRS tax debt. There is not with the state, but it's like a basketball game. You're trying to get the clock down.
Yes.
It's a 10-year clock. You file on time.
Yes.
Then you're trying to run that clock out before, see if you can avoid getting paying it or paying all of it before the IRS collects. Now, granted, it's a 10-year clock.
Yeah, it's quite a while.
But
yeah,
for most of the people I engage in, they're not. I mean, it's they're not usually the biggest fish in the IRS where the IRS is focused on.
Right.
So it is possible, but you need to file the tax return. Also, all the wonderful programs that the IRS offer or the state offers or bankruptcy offers, if you don't file it,
you're right.
You don't get any help. I can't do anything for you if you don't file a tax return.
Right.
You have to get offer in compromise. No tax return, no offer in compromise.
Right.
How are we going to compromise taxes if we don't know what you owe?
If it's not known.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
I just had this. I started getting into this when I had this one potential client. I could have gotten rid of all their taxes.
Okay.
And he didn't file.
Oh.
Any of them.
Oh, no.
And I said to him, I said, can I speak frankly? I know you're an adult. I said, you've been married a couple, you're an adult. I said, if you just filed on time every year, even if you didn't pay,
right,
this would all be gone in bankruptcy.
Wow.
I said, now you have to go file all the returns.
Right.
And wait 2 years.
Ooh.
And I suggest that you probably can't wait for 2 years to file bankruptcy if you're in here now.
Right.
Is that my guess? Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I lost that client. I was like, I got to be able to start offering another service.
Sure.
So I don't lose this client.
Right.
How can I help them otherwise? I mean, they still have to get tax returns filed, but there is help. So I started learning about offers and compromise. I started learning about installment plans.
Oh, okay.
How to handle people, all elements of tax representation before the IRS. So we offer that now.
Oh, fantastic.
Along with, if you have tax problems, I would love to sit down with you and talk to you about, your problem and make you feel better about what's going to happen, and that there is a time to deal with it usually.
Sure.
And B, a system in which to get you back in compliance.
There you go.
And deal with that obligation.
They've got to take those steps, though.
You got to take those steps.
Yep, got to take those steps.
The IRS moves actually kind of, especially with the COVID, moves at a glacial pace.
Yes.
Department of Revenue's faster.
Okay.
But still, it's like cancer. I mean, Nick, when I've gone to some of your lunches, I've introduced myself as a financial oncologist. You have cancer of the finances, and you can't wait. Whatever is feeling weird in the back. I'm gonna go to the doctor later. I'm gonna go to the doctor later.
Right.
You go into the doctor. You get the test.
Yeah.
Mr. So and so or Mrs. So and so.
You should have come in earlier.
Yeah. It's pancreatic cancer stage 4.
Oh no. Right.
Yeah.
You're past help at this point.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It
is so true though. It sure fits.
And the same thing with bankruptcy and stuff like that.
Sure.
If you get a notice, or you get a big fat thing from a process server saying your bank, your mortgage company versus you.
Yes.
As a foreclosure.
Oh, yes.
You have 6 months in Wisconsin almost to deal with this issue. Right. Don't call me on Friday when the house is being sold on Monday. Don't call anyone on that.
No.
Get in there now.
Immediately, yeah. Or even before that if you can. So. Becca, did you have any questions for Abe?
Oh, I'm just listening to all this and processing all these things. So, let's see, what can you and cannot include in a bankruptcy?
Well, you actually have to list all of your creditors.
Okay.
Things that you cannot get rid of. Mm-hmm. All right, and then there's different chapters. All right. There's 7 and 13 and 11 and 12. 12 I don't do. Chapter 11 I now do. But things you can get rid of. You can get rid of medical debt. You can get rid of credit card debt, payday loans. You can get rid of some income taxes if you meet all the qualifications. It has to be 3 years old. So like 2015 We started it when you filed it 2016, so 2019. You can walk away from car loans. You have to give up the car.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that can I keep the car. not if you're going to give up the loan. You have to give up the car too. Sometimes you get to keep it if it's the junker and nobody wants it.
Right.
You can't get rid of domestic support obligations.
Sure.
So if you owe back child support, that's sticking with you. If you do a Chapter 13, which is a repayment plan of 3 to 5 years, when you're done, you will be at least current with your domestic support obligation because you will be forced to pay it through the bankruptcy plan.
Sure.
You can walk away from the house. You can walk away from almost anything. Some tax debt you cannot get rid of. Sales tax, trust fund tax, which is if you run a business and you have employees and you didn't pay their FICA or their Social Security tax or all that other stuff.
Right.
That's not going to go anywhere.
Sure.
And of course, if it's not timely or it's too new, if you just got it last year, you're not going to get rid of it either.
Sure.
Student loans.
There you go.
People ask me, can I get rid of student loans? Well, are you working? No. If I can chop off both your arms and legs and put you in a wheelchair, yes, we probably can get you. It's hard. It really is. You have to show that it is a hardship for you to pay it back. And you have to show that you made some effort, and that's usually where people fail.
Sure.
You've made some effort in the past to pay it. That's usually where people have failed.
Right. They just
we
do
can
zero.
usually establish, this person can't do it.
Yeah.
But it's called the Bruner test. But then we go, well, did you make any effort to pay it? No, I haven't made any. Well,
yeah, they're stuck.
There's that. And I don't usually do student loan law, but I've had one or two clients who maybe could do it, and I send it to somebody.
Sure.
But more times than not. Also, you have to file what's called an adversary case in the bankruptcy. It's a lawsuit. All right.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of work.
Sure.
Well, I want to get paid on this. Okay. That's like $5,000 worth of work.
That usually doesn't fit.
I will find you somebody who maybe will do this for next to nothing, but
right.
I'm going, and of course,
time is money when you think about it. Anything that's going to take more time,
it's
got to, there's no free lunch in the world.
Yeah, we're going to have discovery. We're going to have a deposition probably that student loan lender isn't going to just say, "Oh yeah, that sounds good."
No problem.
That's no problem. It's going to be a full-on litigation with a hearing.
Right. And if you're in trouble already, where is that going to come from?
Yeah,
where's the finances going to come from?
And also, if you're paying me $5,000,
right.
Then you're going to wonder, well, maybe you do have some money to pay the student loans back.
You got it. Yeah. So it's a vicious catch-22 there.
It's not. It's important, those lawyers who do it, God bless them. I'm glad they do it. I just send it to them so they can get paid somehow. But it's not my wheelhouse.
Well, do you find a lot of the times that many of the people coming in don't have full, scope of where they're at, or not understanding that a lot of the impact of what they've created for themselves and their financial woes obviously could have been avoided, but what you're doing now is not helping things just like that, situation like that. So, and many times you're almost having to counsel people, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so you're bringing people to the reality of where they're at.
Yes,
that might not be easy.
You have quite a bit of come to Jesus moments.
I bet.
With your Jewish bankruptcy attorney. But that is, you have to, and the thing is, I think the biggest problem that a lot of my clients face is, of course, myth, and they don't think that they're going to get anything once they file. Oh, my credit's going to be ruined.
Sure.
Let me tell you something. All right,
that's one of my questions.
You're gonna get, that's one of the big problems I have with the new bankruptcy law. It's not that new. It's now 16 years old. Is that the creditors, the multimillionaire banks, go to Congress and tell these people, average Americans, are being irresponsible, and we have to make this more difficult. They're just getting away with murder on this bankruptcy stuff. But they don't have to be responsible. So you file bankruptcy, a week later, you're going to, those cartoons where you open the mailbox and just letters, they'll show letters you'll be knocked over? That's going to be you file bankruptcy. You're going to get offers from all these creditors, all right? Here's a credit card for $10,000. I've seen it. I've seen my clients 2 weeks later get an offer for $10,000 credit card limit.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
So you have to be responsible. The creditors don't.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have to be. They can just hand out. They hand out
They just
credit
wanna
like
keep
it's
it
going out
rolling.
of style. You know what I mean?
Because they make more money.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
If
And
you
they,
don't pay, because then they can raise your rates, and then
Yes.
because I mean, there's things where I've like seen people's like, oh, I had a $10,000 loan, I've paid $15,000 somehow, but somehow I still owe $10,000.
You never
How
get
does
it paid.
This working?
Yeah,
How,
because
how
the
is
interest
this-
rate's 95%.
Yeah.
And you
And
messed
you're
up
paying
a
the
few
minimum
times.
every
And
month.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's actually what's happened sometimes with my husband's student loans. We look at it and we're like, how are we not?
Getting
how are
anywhere.
we paid all this and we're
That's
like we're
one-
never going to pay them off.
That's
Sure.
why everyone is talking about getting real student loan reform because
It's ridiculous.
I borrowed 30, I paid 60.
And I
I
still
owe
owe 90.
32.
Yeah, I owe 90.
Yeah, how did that go?
The
But-
compounding of interest.
But you're
yes.
going to get the only thing you have to wait for after you file a bankruptcy, or Chapter 7, which takes about 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
If you don't have a house, you're probably going to have to wait 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And probably, if you look at your economic situation at that point in time, most of my clients, you're going to have to do some things in the next 2 years so you can afford a mortgage payment. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
Now, granted, in Racine, it's a little easier when you can get some smaller, nice houses, and that mortgage payment, the house is going to be $70,000-$80,000.
Right. You might.
$800 or $900
Might be the cost of
mortgage
rent
payment.
anyway.
It's
Yeah.
gonna cost you rent.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
possible for you. All
Right.
right. That's a doable thing here in Racine and southeastern Wisconsin.
Right.
But you're probably most of my clients you're going to have to wait a year or two, but you can
Sure.
build up your credit pretty quickly. All right.
Right.
Number one, the credit score is based on debt to income ratio. Well, now I got rid of all your debt, so you only have an income ratio.
Yeah. There you
All right,
go.
there's no debt to income ratio, it's just income. Number two, you have, let's say you have a car that you're going to reaffirm on. Okay, I send people to Marine Credit Union over on 11 and 31 across from Walgreens. They'll talk to people 2 minutes after you get your case closed and your discharge order
Sure.
about refinancing cars.
Oh, sure.
I have a friend who got his 3 to 6 months at Educators refinance his BMW that he bought.
Wow.
He bought it like 3 months after he filed bankruptcy. He bought a BMW.
Wow.
And they
Interesting.
refinanced it for him for about 3.9% interest.
Oh my.
So that's pretty good. Emerging
Yes.
from
Yeah.
bankruptcy.
Very good.
So you're going to get all the credit you want, or maybe you shouldn't have, but
I was gonna
Right.
say, but is that just another cycle? of
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Where does that
starting
go?
over?
Yeah. Where does that go? So.
You'll get credit again, and you'll be able to reestablish it pretty quickly. Reaffirming it on a car, where they'll usually list it on your credit report, and you're on time with your payments. That's going to be a huge boost.
Right, that builds
You know,
your
that's
credit
going
back
to
up.
make everyone happy with you in about a year or so. Okay,
Right.
so don't ever worry about not getting credit.
Yes.
The question is being disciplined enough to maybe turn some of it down and not take it. Because
Right.
you're going to get plenty of offers for credit. Okay.
Sure.
That's just a myth. And also, the big thing is, I'm not a huge Bible thumper. I'm not one of the quote Bibles, but I've seen this in action. Pride does come before the fall.
Mm-hmm.
I know people are embarrassed they had to file bankruptcy and stuff like that. I had a World War II vet delivering newspapers for Kenosha News. His wife wanted to file. They needed to file. He would not give me his paperwork.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah.
It was
And-
just the like stigma behind it.
Sure.
Yes.
Like, what do you say to people that they feel guilty because of their obligations and they're not, following through with them, and they feel like they don't have a choice and they don't want to do that because it is a pride thing.
I
and
have
it's,
3 names for you.
okay.
Thomas Alva Edison,
Okay.
Walt Disney, and Henry Ford.
Okay.
They all filed bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
They became moderately successful later on. You might have heard about
Might
them.
have.
I think there's a couple parks with Mr. Disney's name on it. Children have been known to enjoy themselves. You reemerging from bankruptcy. I mean, you have to be honest with yourself. All right. If you have $30,000 in debt and you have $30,000 a year in income, you don't have extra money to pay that off. It's just not going to happen. The debt consolidation loans, you have two things to worry about. Okay, a couple of things
That's
to
what I
worry
was going to
about.
ask next. What's the difference between a bankruptcy and a
consolidation,
consolidation,
right.
and which
So-
one's better in the situation?
Well, it makes you feel better because you're paying your creditors back, okay?
Right.
Problems with debt consolidation. Not everyone has to participate. Meaning, you know,
creditors don't have.
They and they can go and sue you.
Oh.
If I file a Chapter 13, Chapter 13, which is a repayment plan, is sort of like debt consolidation.
Sure.
Every Chapter 13 is always cheaper than debt consolidation.
Oh, okay.
You pay 0% interest on the unsecured debt. You usually don't have to pay it all back because it's a mathematical calculation as to what you have to pay back.
Oh, okay.
If the creditor doesn't have to participate. That is true. But they don't get to come back later and say, oh, we're going to go collect on this. No. I sent you notice. You had a time, 70 days to file a claim to get paid on that. I know you didn't like it. I know it was what they call a 1% plan where you had $7,000 and you were going to get paid $7 or something like that. But that was your only option at that point in time.
Right.
You know,
So obviously stepping up for that individual
Yeah.
is a game changer for them to be able to impact, again, that debt because now you can, again, slate clean situation, I guess, in many ways.
and it helps the economy. But now you're borrowing again.
Sure.
Now you're going to buy. At a certain point, you can't borrow any more money.
Right.
We get your debt fresh. Now you can borrow more money. Now you're putting more money into the economy, and you're actually. I know it's kind of far fetched, but that's exactly what's happening.
Sure.
If
Cycle
they
of
can't
money.
loan money to you anymore, you aren't contributing anymore. You're just paying on old debt. But now you
Right.
got rid of that old debt, and you are now getting more credit, and you are putting more money into the economy again, and you are helping the
Interesting
economy.
thought.
slowly,
That's a very interesting
And then
thought.
on a business take on this, if you had to file bankruptcy as a business, how difficult is it to continue business, or do you have to close the business? Because we
It
work with a lot of
depen-
businesses.
Oh, sure.
What happens? And I know
It
there's a lot of
depends
people going through this
on the
now.
sophistication of your business.
Okay.
Chapter 11 and there's a new Chapter 11, what they call it Subchapter V, or Chapter 5. It's supposed to make it a little bit easier. It's supposed to make it, one of the things they cut out was called a disclosure statement, which is a huge thing. It tells everybody about your case, about your practice, and what you're going to do.
Oh, okay.
And it is, you actually have, and that's can be, several, depending on the size of the company, it can be several hundred pages, and that costs thousands, and they cut that out, okay?
Just that extra paperwork part?
Yeah,
Okay.
that costs, that's the expensive
Interesting.
part of it right there.
Interesting.
Okay.
Sure.
You, under the new Chapter 11, you can get a plan confirmed without the objections of your creditors. Okay? You can't. They still have the original Chapter 11, where you need votes from your creditors to get approval from your plan. The new subchapter 5 allows you to get that plan confirmed over the objections.
Interesting.
It's expensive, though. I had a guy that called me today. He was doing garages and stuff like that. Chapter 13, the bankruptcy court sets the fee at about $4,500. Most of what you pay to the bankruptcy plan, all right? It breaks down to about $80 a month over it, all right?
Sure.
Chapter 7 is anywhere from $1,400. Usually I charge $1,500 all the way up to about $23,000, something like that.
Okay.
Do you know what I quoted him today for a Chapter 11? The filing fee is about $1,717. That goes to the court. I wanted $20,000
Oh my.
up front.
Sure.
$20,000.
big
Now, your
impact.
business, probably, are you a LLC or a S?
LLC.
All right. So, probably what you're telling me, based on what you talked about outside, I would probably suggest, you probably maybe close the LLC, file a personal bankruptcy, and start up a new LLC. I don't know enough about your business, but
Well, in many circumstances.
I'm thinking you
Yeah.
probably don't want to come up with 20 large.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming in many circumstances is that closing of that LLC for whoever it might be out there in the world is not a bad thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
not like that LLC
It's not like
has.
they could never open a business again.
Yeah, you're not closing some big entity and,
Yeah,
and people
yeah.
know of it and stuff. So this is just moving on, so to speak. Yeah.
But see, a business like yours cannot get a discharge in a Chapter 7. So let's say your LLC files a Chapter 7. They're going to liquidate whatever the Chapter 7 trustee is going to take whatever assets he or she thinks is worth taking,
Right.
liquidate them, and pay whatever creditors.
Sure.
But whatever doesn't get paid, still on that business is on the hook.
Okay.
So you might as well just close it down or hire me to close it down. We send letters to the creditors and say, ABC LLC is no longer in business. We're not paying you anything anymore.
Right.
No debts are getting paid.
Right.
And the owner or investors may or may not be filing a bankruptcy case under the United States Bankruptcy Code.
Right.
But that is what is happening. And then we can file with the state dissolving that LLC and it's done. And you file the Chapter 7.
Sure. Makes them
Or
probably
13.
much more sense.
And you go start up maybe even the same company under a different name.
Yeah. There you go.
But
Yeah. Makes sense.
that's what you do.
Yeah, that
So-
makes a lot of good sense. I guess in closing here, Abe, it's been fantastic information because I think a lot of people are probably just struggling as to what they should do sometimes, and they're against the wall, going, "Do I want to do bankruptcy? Do I not want to do bankruptcy? You know what? You know, I think the major thing there is they should be calling you. I think they should be giving you the information that you can give them back feedback that can make that difference for them, because who knows where they can be if they have this away from them, if their life is now renewed towards a good direction.
Yes, because, again, I come back to the Bible thumping.
Yeah.
Don't be proud about. It's like a Band-Aid. It hurts. Pull it off.
Just do it.
Move on.
Right,
You know, just
right.
move on.
Right.
It's in the Bible, Book of Deuteronomy. It used to be why bankruptcy was that's why you have Chapter 7. If you look at the Bankruptcy Code, it's called Chapter 7. It's how many years in the Book of Deuteronomy that you're supposed to forgive everyone's debts every 7 years. Okay,
I
they
see, sure.
changed it in 2005 to once every 8 years. That's where they get that from, Chapter 7.
Interesting.
I knew there was a 7-year thing.
Yes,
for
and that's why they call it Chapter 7. But you're not going to sleep at night. You're going to make yourself sick.
Right.
And you're going to be better. You're going to feel better, and you're going to be so much better.
Yeah,
I'm telling Nick out here, I'm trying to close this out. I have a Chapter 13 case right now where we're going to do some fantastic things. We're going to strip off a second mortgage, because if you have a second mortgage on your house and the first mortgage you owe on it is more in terms of what you have to pay them than the value of the home, what we do is we get an appraisal.
Sure.
You can strip that second mortgage off like a credit card. You might pay them something, you might pay them nothing.
Right.
She's not going to pay them anything in this because she doesn't have any of that much money.
Sure.
And on top of that, she's going to pay $14,000 in income tax and get rid of $76,000 in this Chapter 13.
Wow.
There is nothing else out there that does that.
Right.
All you have to do is be willing to have that bankruptcy on your credit report for about 7 years. But you know what? It's going to feel so much better when you don't have that second mortgage.
Right.
And you don't have $90,000 in tax debt.
You can live your life.
Yeah, you can. And there's no other program. There's nothing out there you probably could have done an offer and compromise, but that takes a year or two on top of it, and an additional $4,500 in attorney's fees to. At least that's what I charge usually.
Yeah.
But if I had a lady who we just got an accepted offer. She paid $1,000 on $38,000 of tax debt.
Wow.
So
that's huge.
So it can happen. But again, Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and then we do an offer and compromise. Now you're talking, $6,000-$7,000 in fees, $4,500, getting rid of a second mortgage,
Yeah.
paying very little on tax. Boom.
There you
You
go.
get out in 5 years, you made your payments, and you're really going to have a fresh start. Your life is
Yeah.
going to look really, really good.
Yeah, difference, big impact.
And this lady's going to be able to get credit for whatever she needs because she doesn't need credit for a house. She has a house.
There you go.
She already had it refinanced or modified a couple of times. She can get a new car. She can get credit cards. So nothing's going to be denied her once she gets that discharge order.
There you go.
So
That's huge.
But there's just nothing out there like that. There's nothing out there that protects the debtor as well as bankruptcy.
Yeah, makes sense.
And you will get back on your feet really quickly.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's good. Well, good in closing for that. Thanks, Abe. This is amazing
Well, thank you.
information. Yes.
Nick, thank you.
Great
Yeah, it gives a
information.
chance for people to understand and maybe make a difference in their life financially. Because that can be as stressful as anything in life, is when you're in financial trouble.
Yeah, I think
It just
health and
holds you back.
finances are the two biggest
Yep,
stresses.
holds you
I-
back. Yeah, and it all kind of almost plays together in many ways. So
Absolutely.
thanks, Abe. It was
You're welcome.
fantastic.
Because that's why Peter Francis Tracy does his ads at 3 in the morning because he knows you're up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because your
that's
stomach
And I'll
hurts.
tip my hat to him. I can't afford it, but he can.
That's-
And then you call.
Non-sleeping. There
And
you go.
so,
Thanks again, Abe. It was
so,
fantastic.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for watching this episode of Rely on Local. We're looking forward to getting you more information. Please subscribe. Great information always coming. Please reach out if you have any questions or any needs that RelyLocal can help you with, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.